Hello, everyone. Dear viewers, come in, come join us. We're going to learn something today. Bit of a history lesson. It's going to be ridiculous. I'll wait for people to trickle in as I lose my spot in my book. Welcome. But I digress. Oh, somebody's been put in timeout. Oops. Oh, the book. Yes, the book has absolutely nothing to do with this. It's just a prop. It's actually Ordnance and Gunnery, printed in 1917. It's the first edition. It's just it just looked fancy. All of this is fake, by the way. This is real. This is real. This is real. I do need to stream about some conspiracy theories, and yes, as I make a fool of myself. So today, we'll be talking about this man right here. This is Victor Lustig, or it was. He is dead now. He's been dead since 1947. But he died in Alcatraz, which, if you're going to die in a prison, that's the one to do it. Although, hard to do it now because it's no longer a prison. It's now a place for tours. You can still dive there. It's just less likely, I imagine. I wouldn't know. But this man is considered the smoothest con man to ever have lived. I thought he'd be a fun little topic. The book is a little out of date, yes, but it's from the right time period of the guy we're about to talk about, more or less. So, yes, how fascinating. A lot of math in this book. A lot of, well, yes. Somewhere in here there's a bookmark that's organic chemistry related. Don't know why. I don't know where this book came from. Is it my book? Is it someone else's book? I don't know. I found it. I'm using it. I won't commit to over 320. What do you mean I won't commit to over 320? We'll figure it out. Anyway, who's ready to learn about Victor Lustig? I am. I don't know about you. He was born in 1890. Right? Do math. Let me pretend to read from this book. Victor Lustig was born in 1890, and he was a highly skilled con artist from Austria-Hungary. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Austria-Hungary, you might think, well, there's Hungary and there's Austria. It's probably a combination of that. You know, this is 1890. So European countries were a little bit different. World War sort of rearranged things a lot. Now, the place he was born, I believe, is what is currently the Czech Republic. And if you've never been to the Czech Republic, go. A lot of fun. Well, Prague's a lot of fun. Everywhere else looks like the Cold War just ended. Pretty run down. Prague is lovely. Anyway, this guy is famous for a few things. Mostly for selling the Eiffel Tower twice. I know. Some exciting stuff. No, I'm not doing a 3-hour and 20-minute stream. For those of you wondering in the chat. Well, if you find this boring, feel free to leave. I'm doing this for me. And for those of you who care. But this is just me having fun. I bought this jacket, I might as well use it. Anyway, selling the Eiffel Tower twice. 1925. A lovely year. France had just been recovering from World War I. Took them a while. They hadn't fully recovered. There was still a lot of recovery happening by the time World War II came about. But they were doing okay. So Victor Lustig, he traveled to France, and while staying in Paris, he chanced upon, and that's their word, not mine, chanced upon a newspaper article discussing the problems faced with maintaining the Eiffel Tower. Those of you not familiar with the Eiffel Tower, it was never meant to be permanent. It was for, I think, the 1895 World Fair. They built it. They went, this is a temporary structure, and obviously it's a little less temporary than they intended. It is still there. But at the time, it was pretty much, we're going to put it up, we're going to take it down. They just never got around to it. So, Victor Lustig traveled back to France, and while staying in Paris, he chanced upon a newspaper article discussing the problems faced with maintaining the Eiffel Tower, which gave him inspiration for his newest con. At the time, the monument had begun to fall into disrepair, and the city was finding it increasingly expensive to maintain and repair it. Part of the article made a passing comment that overall public opinion on the monument would move towards calls for its removal, which was the key to convincing Lustig that using it as part of his next con would be lucrative. After researching what he needed to help him utilize the information from the article, Lustig set to work preparing the scam, which included hiring a forger to produce fake government stationery for him, something that was a lot easier at the time. Now, much more difficult. Once he was ready, Lustig invited a small group of scrap metal dealers to a confidential meeting at an expensive hotel, whereupon he identified himself as the Deputy Director General of the Ministère des Postes et des Télégraphes. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's basically the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs. Someone I don't understand why they would be involved in selling the Eiffel Tower, but he made it work. Let's learn how. In the meeting, he convinced the men that the upkeep of the Eiffel Tower was becoming too much for Paris, and that the French government wished to sell it for scrap, but that because such a deal would be controversial and likely spark public outcry, nothing can be disclosed until all deals went through, or were at least thought out. Lustig revealed that he was in charge of selecting the dealer who would receive ownership of the structure, claiming that the group had been selected carefully because of the reputation of its structure. Wait, no, I've misread. Because of their reputation as honest businessmen, something that will charm any businessman, honest or not. As part of his speech, he took in genuine insight about the monument's place in the city and how it didn't fit in with the other city's famous monuments, like the Gothic cathedrals or the Arc de Triomphe. It's true, it doesn't really fit in. Close enough for government work, that's exactly right. During his time with the dealers, Lustig kept watch on who would be the most likely to fall for his scam and found his mark in André Poisson. Poisson is a French word for some type of food. I want to say fish. Someone let me know. Is poisson fish in French? Doesn't matter. David, if I could ride a motorcycle, I would. But I can't. Anyway. Poisson. Ah, yes, he was an insecure man who wished to rise up amongst the inner circles of the Parisian business community. As he showed the keenest interest in purchasing the monument, Lustig decided to focus on him once the dealers sent their bids to him. Arranging a private meeting with Poisson, Lustig convinced him that he was a corrupt official, claiming that his government position did not give him a generous salary for the lifestyle he wished to enjoy. Yes, my high school French is atrocious. Croissant. Poisson. I'm sure that was highly offensive. But they're French. They're highly offensive. Let me see. Believing the sale of the Eiffel Tower would secure him a place amongst the top businessmen, Poisson agreed to pay a large bribe to secure ownership of the Eiffel Tower. However, once Lustig received his bribe and the funds for the monument's sale, he soon fled to Austria. Good choice. Now here's where it gets interesting. Put this prop down over here. What Lustig counted on was that Poisson would be too embarrassed to report the crime. And he was. Lustig watched newspapers for about a year, and there was no mention of his crime or his con. He went, I can go back and do it again. So he did, and got caught. Almost. people got wise to his scam, called the police. He had to flee to the United States. Now, that brings us to one of his next cons. Would you guys like to learn about the money printing box called the Romanian box, or his shady dealings with the gangster Al Capone? You guys get to choose. It's your party. I'm just here telling history stories. I'll wait for the chat to catch up. Anyone? We're just all saying croissant in the chat. Good choice. No? Nobody? Don't? Al Capone, Romanian box? I'm just going to pick one. Al Capone. Yes, Al Capone. We're coming in. Al Capone. Let me see. Yes. So, yes, audience, who doesn't love audience participation? This is upside down. Not that it matters. It matters to me. When the Great Depression hit, Lustig concocted a risky scam aimed towards Al Capone, knowing that he faced certain death if he was found to be betraying or sought to ruin his mark. For Lustig, the scam was not a straight-out con, but one designed around a mind game, with his target that would get him to part with a small amount of cash. The scheme involved him asking Capone to to let him invest $50,000 towards a crooked scam, whereupon he kept the money given to him within a safe deposit box for 2 months before returning it. When he did, he claimed that the deal had fallen through, but that he intended to return the money, which surprised Capone by the fact that he was dealing with an honest man for the first time. Honest man. At this point, Lustig stung him with a claim that the failure of the deal meant he had no money himself to support him, convincing Capone to give him $5,000 to tide him over, which was the plan all along. I do have a very large delay, don't I? Very odd. Where's my pipe? I'm glad you asked. My pipe is actually right here. I was going to save it for a later stream when I do this again, but since you asked, good times. Now, you'll never financially recover. So, the deal was, hey, Al Capone, you criminal, you man who's organized the deaths of many people and run an organized crime empire. Can I have $50,000? I have this business scam. It's real risky. It's actually illegal. I know you're into that sort of thing, but the rewards will be very, very great. And Al Capone was like, yeah, cool. This guy is very charming. And he was. $50,000, here you go. What do I care? So, Lustig held on to it. He never intended to invest in any scheme. He just held on to it. 2 months later, he came back. He was like, Mr. Capone, please don't kill me. It didn't work. Here's your money back. And Al Capone's like, you didn't just run away with my money? We thought you were just going to run away with my money. And he goes, no. No, I legitimately intended to make this happen. It just didn't. The deal fell through. And of course I'm not going to take your money. I'm an honest man. And Capone's like, yes, you are. He is not. And Lustig goes, the problem is this. I was really banking on this deal. I'm not doing so hot. And Capone's like, yeah, here's $5,000. Lustig never wanted $50,000. He wanted the $5,000 from Capone. Genius. And then Capone never found out, because he absolutely would have killed Lustig for that. But, pardon me, do you have any Grey Poupon? Excuse me, sir, do you have any mayonnaise? That is an old Drew Carey joke. Yeah, I don't think Al Capone cared too much about the 50,000. Now, more things that he has in common with Al Capone is they both died in prison. I believe Al Capone died in prison. They both served time in Alcatraz. Yes, Al Capone died in Alcatraz, I believe. So did Lustig. Lustig was eventually caught. He was sentenced to, 20 years, I believe. And, yeah. He died of being too cold. Alcatraz is a cold place. They did that on purpose. Well, that's not true. The showers were hot. It's one of the few places where the showers in prison were hot at the time. And that's because the waters. Alcatraz is an island. It's the inescapable island. I don't think anyone has successfully ever actually escaped. There were a few people that supposedly did, but their bodies were never found. So maybe they escaped and just laid low for a while. But it's not an island. You have to swim back to the coast of California. And they gave you hot showers so that you could not acclimate to the cold water before trying to escape. It's genius, but it's a very cold place, more or less. Yeah. Died of death, he did. Yes, indeed. He died of death. So what a way to go. Most people do, actually. Repo Man, where do you think the look was inspired from? But yes, I chose blue instead of red. Questions! Hit me with your questions. Big addicts. This is a badge from the Alcatraz gift shop to run funeral escorts. I like that. Alright, Lustig also has, 10 commandments for con men, which aren't really that interesting. It's like, never get drunk. Okay, makes sense. Never look bored. Okay. Be a patient listener. Like 10 commandments. I think we can figure that out. Right? I'm pretty sure we got that. Anyway, he had a few other cons. He had this money box. I'll just go over. I won't use the silly voice. So he had this box. Capone was released? No, I don't pay attention to Capone. He had this box. And it was this contraption. So he'd put money into it. And then the money would come out. And then, like, over the course of a long period of time, that same amount of money would come out, like a different slot. So like, it prints money. It copies your money and prints it. I put a $100 bill in. That one comes out. And then later, another $100 bill comes out. Really what he did was he just loaded it with money. And had it very slowly eject that money. And then to scam people, he'd say, here's a $5 bill. I'm going to put it in. Oh, $5 bill came out. But he had, he knew what was the order of the money, so he'd put in that order of the money, and then that order of the money would come out. Now, these bills were real. So, he'd do that. He'd be like, hey, see this bill that just got printed? We're going to take it to the bank. He'd take it to the bank, and the bank would be like, yep, that's a real bill. And the guy would be like, oh, that's amazing. My mind is blown. This thing prints real money. And, of course, they didn't ask to open it up or anything because they're stupid. And they'd buy it for like tens of thousands of dollars, which is not the amount of money that it contained. And Lustig would make all that money minus the cost of the box and however much money that he'd put in there. Now, he had it print very slowly to give him more time to escape. Guy's very smart. See, I thought he died of syphilis in prison. Other people are saying he had cancer and was released and died in Florida. It's not important. They both were in Alcatraz. That was the point. But yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, like Repo Man saying there in the comments, people have escaped Alcatraz. Did they survive it? That's the question. But yeah, that's Victor Lustig. He has other things. There are other things that he's done. Those are his big ones, though. He is one of the greats of con men. Lived to be late 60s. Good for him. Speaking of the box, the Romanian box, that money printer thing I was talking about, one of his most infamous uses of the device was upon a Texas sheriff whom he convinced to buy it for $1,000. Upon realizing he had been tricked, the sheriff pursued Lustig to Chicago. Upon meeting him again, the sheriff was conned into believing that he was not operating the device correctly and was handed a large sum of cash as compensation, unaware that the money was counterfeit and would eventually lead to his arrest by American law enforcement officers. He got the sheriff arrested for trying to use counterfeit money. Guy's a madman. I love it. Jeremy DeWitt story time. I actually don't have any good Jeremy DeWitt stories for you. This stream was supposed to be an interview with a former employee, but that former employee is has turned state witness or something similar. So they were contacted. Apparently, Orange County watches these streams. So Orange County, or the sheriff, or the investigators, or the prosecutors, someone involved, watches my streams. It's very flattering. If you're watching it now, you're probably not gonna get anything exciting from it. I mean, feel free if you're in here. But yeah, he was contacting and said, "Hey, please don't do that interview because it might influence the case poorly somehow. Things might happen. We don't want to do that." So that will not be happening. I'm still in communication with him, but I'm slowing down my roll when it comes to asking questions, because if you can't give me answers, what's the point? I have not seen the new video released today yet. Now's the part of the story time is mostly over, unless you guys want more stories. Now we're just back to DeWitt, because I am now the Jeremy DeWitt channel, I guess. But I haven't seen the video. I have not. I am excited to see it. I am familiar with the newest charges against DeWitt, which I'm looking forward to seeing more information on. I've looked in the public records, and I haven't found anything yet. I don't know which county he was arrested in. So I got to figure it out. But we shall see. Questions? Any questions? I'll wait for the chat to catch up. I'll just talk. I don't think the stream is going to be very long. I felt like this would be a nice little short stream idea. I don't know if you guys are interested in learning about historical criminals over the years, but I had fun. I mean, it's nice. It's very saddening. I can't complain. Although, if you don't like it, I bought these clothes for nothing, so what a shame. I'll find a use for them. Oh yes, Taylor wanted to start a bit of a book club. Anne Rule has written a book, a pretty good book, about Gary Ridgway, who, for those of you who are familiar with my channel, may know that I am planning on trying to find more victims of Ridgway. Am I likely to be successful? Maybe not. Would I like to be? Sure. But, we'll see. Oh, yeah, Jay Pavilion, go ahead, upload it. By all means. Yeah, where's Hoffa? That's the question, isn't it? Is it a robe? It's actually a smoking jacket. It's very nice. It's very comfy. I don't smoke, so I have no use for it other than looking fancy. Jay Pavilion, you do what you want with my footage. I'm not picky. All right, you get. Well, I mean, they're cheap Chinese costume clothings. But yes, I bought them with my own money. Thank you very much. Not from the money from this channel, which is strictly at the moment going towards the Gary Ridgway shenanigans. I look like Ferris Bueller. A different chair than my fake chair, or than the one I'm actually sitting in. More wooden arm. Well, yeah. Check this out. Want to see something fun? This is my real chair. And boom. I was gonna actually start the stream by popping out of the chair like that, but decided against it. Where did I find a smoking jacket? The internet. You can find just about anything on the internet. Paisley fabric. But maybe I'll get a different chair. But anyway. All right. What kind of detector am I looking at? I'm looking at a I don't know, it's $212. I do know that. I should get a large, just ridiculous ring. I don't want any complaining from those of you who are watching this after the fact, because this is the part where the main part of the stream is over. It was a quick, short stream. Now I'm just answering questions. So if you don't like it, should have been here live. All right. I'm looking at a Garrett Ace 250, $212. It is nice. It's supposedly a very nice metal detector. And I wanted a nice one. I could have gone with like a cheaper one, but the problem is Ridgway took jewelry off his victims. He took clothing off his victims. Not all of them, but if I'm gonna find anything, I want something that will find anything. You know. Fillings and teeth, anything that he left behind as far as jewelry or clothing. I don't know. We'll see. Isn't it our ascot? We need to bring ascots back. No, definitely not going cheap. This is for the price is at the top. I didn't really want to go any higher because I wasn't going to get much more out of it. You know, should dress up as a Metro State policeman. Don't tempt me. My best story. All right, it's into this story time. My best story as a cop. Oh. How do I want to tell this story? I don't know if it's my best story, but it's a fun one. It'll get me demonetized on this video. Not that I'm too worried about that. Nuclear. Yeah. My lighting is weird. I don't know what's going on with my lighting. I think I don't know. It makes them green. Look at that. I'm radioactive. Bigger collar. I'm not. This shirt's probably as expensive as the jacket was. This is an older shirt. I've had this for ages. All right, I'll tell you. Shall I tell you the drug and sex toy story, or shall I tell you the paranoid stabbing story? I'll let you guys. Yeah, there's a lot of delay today for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but those are. I could tell those stories. Military police theater. I do have a fun story about the time I found a pile of faces on my channel. If you're looking for a good story, pretty fond of that one. Yeah, the PT belt keeps you safe. He wasn't wearing his PT belt. Should have worn his PT belt. All right, I'm hearing. Both stories. The drug story is currently at the top. It's 2-1. All right, we can go over the drug one. Let's see if I can remember how it goes, because this was 2014. So 6 years ago. Yeah, I could probably. Yeah, all right. So I was, for those of you who don't know, a counter-narcotics investigator for a couple years. I know, right? You say Jeremy and it just goes up. Jeremy. It's like Beetlejuice, right? You say it 3 times, the Metro State YouTube channel will pop in and start complaining. All right. Moving on. So I was in counter-narcotics, and I did this with the military. And the thing you have to know before I get into this story is that people in barracks rooms have their barracks rooms checked every so often, depending on who your commander or first sergeant is. Maybe it will get checked every day, maybe once a week, maybe once a month, maybe never, right? During one of these checks, our subject was in his room waiting for this check. First sergeant knocks on the door. Subject opens the door. Eddie's first sergeant's in the room, blah, blah, blah. Whole thing. We're not going to go into the details of that. First sergeant beelines towards the closet, steps up onto a chair, looks on the top shelf of that closet and goes, there's a drug pipe here. It was like a little like marijuana bowl, for those of you familiar with that. And our subject was like, that's not mine. I don't know where that came from. And the first sergeant goes, I don't care. It's in your room. Sucks to be you. So we got involved. And we're like, hey, soldier. Hey, you got it. You got some drug paraphernalia in your room. That's a violation of Article 112 Alpha. Oh boy, what's your side of the story? He goes, it's not mine. I had no idea it was there. I've never used that shelf. I'm a short guy. And he was a short, nerdy Asian. And all of those are relevant. And I will explain when we get to that point. He goes, I've never used that shelf. I'm like 5'6". That shelf is like 6 feet off the ground. Never done it. Never used it. Never checked it. Don't know. And isn't it weird that the first sergeant immediately went to that spot as if he knew it was there? And I'm just like, you make a very valid point. That is a little weird. And your explanation is reasonable. That you wouldn't have used that shelf. In fact, it's so reasonable, we're going to offer you a polygraph. If you pass that polygraph, we'll move forward. If you don't, we'll move forward, right? Well, depending on how this goes. Really how much we want to trust you. And now I'm trained in detecting signs of dishonesty and that sort of thing. And he wasn't giving those signs. He wasn't giving the indicators I look for. He wasn't saying the things that a dishonest person will generally say. And so I'm asking these questions in conjunction. If any of you are familiar with the read technique, I don't use the read technique, but I have a very similar sort of way of interviews and interrogation. The reason I don't use the read technique, I technically kind of do, is because in a court of law, if you say, I use the read technique, which is a very specific way of asking questions, you are then subject to the defense asking you to explain exactly what the read technique is. And if you say it wrong, they can be like, you don't know what you're talking about, you did it incorrectly. So I don't use the read technique, but I use the read technique. All right, and it's very good for getting people to reveal signs of dishonesty. So he's not revealing those signs. I'm like, let's offer him a polygraph. Now, polygraphs are a little iffy. It's not going to be used to convict you, but it does give us a decent idea of whether or not you're being honest with us. So we offered it to him. He's like, yeah, I'd love to do it. He did it, and he passed it. No signs of dishonesty. So either this guy is a sociopath, or he's telling the truth, or the polygraph is wrong. But we're willing to trust him because the circumstances were kind of weird. And I go to my SAC, which is special agent in charge. Don't get any weird ideas about SAC, all right? And I go, hey, this guy's not showing sign of dishonesty. His story is very believable. He passed the polygraph. What do we do, right? The thing was found in his room, and he's responsible for everything in his room. He signs for that room and accepts responsibility. So technically, he's breaking the law. But I think morally, we can't really pursue this. And the SAC goes, look, I agree with what you're saying. And the story's about to get good. Don't worry, guys. I agree with what you're saying. But let's ask if we can search his room. If we search his room and find nothing, we'll drop the charges. Like, that's a great idea. So I go over to the guy and go, hey, we'd like to search your barracks room. You consent to this, we'll drop charges. It's going to be a very thorough search. We'll be careful with your stuff, but like, we're going through everything. What do you think? He goes, yep, do it. Love it. Love the idea. He's just, no question. Okay, that's a good sign. Yeah, and let me tell you guys, when we search stuff, we search everything. Like, I'm talking like shaking shampoo bottles to see if there's anything hidden there. Like trying to pry out the outlets to see if anything's hidden behind them. So I get myself and another investigator named, I'm going to give him a name, Gary. His name is not Gary, but I'm going to give him the name Gary to protect his identity, because I don't know if he wants me to tell this story. We go to this guy's room, and short, nerdy Asian. Remember that. That's important. He's got lightsabers on his wall. He's got every gaming console, that is, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, whatever was current at the time. He's got it. He's got a gaming computer. This guy, like, when does he have time to get out, right? And we're going through all his stuff, and all of his stuff. We keep finding these unopened condoms, just everywhere. We're like, there's no way. This dude is short. Strike one. Ladies don't tend to like that too much. And maybe he wasn't into the ladies. I don't know. But we'll get to that. He's Asian. A lot of women don't tend to pursue Asians because of certain thoughts about certain things about it. We're not going to go into details. You can figure it out, right? And he's nerdy. So when does he have the time to go out and use all of these condoms? There are so many of them. So we're searching. We found like half a paintball gun, which he's not allowed to have, but it wasn't drugs, so I didn't care. And Gary, whose name is not Gary, goes, "Hey, Sergeant Blue, did you check the bathroom yet?" No, I didn't check the bathroom. I was actively avoiding trying to check the bathroom. You never want to check the bathroom. There are two places where you always find weird stuff. The bedroom, if it's in a house. Barracks room's not so much. The entire thing's a bedroom. And the bathroom, which is weird. One of those two places, that's where the weird stuff is. And I'm like, no, I was hoping I could just passively ignore it until he did it. But now that he's brought it up, I have to go do it. So I went into the bathroom, and I'm shaking shampoo bottles. And, holding them up to the light to make sure there's nothing shining through. He doesn't have little baggies and whatever. I'm going through everything. And I open up one of the drawers underneath the sink, and there is a fleshlight. For those of you who don't know what a fleshlight is, I'm not going to explain it to you. All right? Google it at your own risk. It is a object for sexual activities with oneself. That is the extent of what I'm telling you. Anyway, here's one of them. All right. Good for him. Okay. Next drawer. 2 more. All right, that seems like a lot. But good for him. Hey, Gary, I think I figured out what all the condoms are for. Open up the next drawer. Guess what I found, folks? Guess what I found? In total, I found 6. Now, conceivably, there are only 3 holes on the human body that one could insert male genitalia into. I don't know why he would need 6. Now, I'll tell you right now, I did not open any of them up. I did not. So if you're hiding drugs from me, that is the place I will not look. I do not get paid enough for that. It's, ooh. So maybe he had drugs in there. I don't know. I'll never know. But, yeah, my thought is maybe he was a religious man and he took Sunday off. Okay. And that's why I only had 6. Because you only need, 1 for each day. And then Sunday is day for the Lord. Maybe. He had so many of them. And so we didn't find anything. And we went to him and we're like, hey, dude, you are free to go. Your charges are dropped. Whatever. Now, this guy worked in our medical facility. So every time we had hey, we need medical records to find out if this drug in this person's system was prescribed to them, we'd often run into him. And I'm sure he knew what we found. Never brought it up, but I'm sure he knew. It was a good time. It's, it's weird things. It's not super exciting. It's not like, dead bodies, right? But I'll tell you, my dead body stories aren't actually that interesting. It's like, yep, there's a dead body. I wasn't there when they died. It's weird looking at a dead body, though. It's they don't feel like a real person. It's like they kind of look like a very realistic mannequin. Like you can sort of tell. There's not the body has these very subtle movements that you don't really realize it's doing it until they're not happening, and then it's just like that person is dead. Yeah, maybe he didn't throw away the ones that stopped working. Yeah. What was the other one I was going to tell? The drugs. I don't know, what was the other story I brought up that I could probably tell off the top of my head? Because there are other stories, but I'd have to try to remember all of them. Oh, you know what? I got a brief one. I got a short story. I was doing a drug MTT, which is basically a training. It was a week-long training program where we tested our drug investigation skills. And we basically had an actor. We had a couple actors, and we had to do the interview and interrogation with them, get them to turn on their source, and if we didn't do it well, they wouldn't do it. So we had to do it appropriately. Turn on their supplier, become a registered source with us, a criminal informant, basically. Get us to meet with this supplier, this dealer, 3 times. At which point we would then do a bust and arrest them. And this is over the course of a week, and we had to do all the paperwork, everything correctly. And it was all reviewed by some very important people. And it was a lot of fun. It was a good time. During the bust, Uh, God, the guy who I had to arrest was like, we had these fake plastic pistols. I actually got to do the bust twice because there were two groups doing this. And I got to assist with both. The first time, let's do the first one. The first time was like outside of a Subway's. It was on a base. It was on a military base. And the stabbing one, that's right. We'll get to that. It was on a base. And the people thought it was real when we arrested the guy. Like, when the whole thing went down. And a lot of, like, colonels were complaining, like, I couldn't get my sandwich because people were at the window watching. Like, the person making my sandwich stopped to watch this go down. Like, don't know what to tell you, dude. I'm so sorry. But the main one that I did, because I was just assisting on that one. That wasn't the one I was actually running. The second one, the guy I had to arrest was a runner. Like, he loved running. I'm not much of a runner. I can do distance fine. I'm not a speed guy, right? So I had my little plastic pistol pointed at him, like, get down on the ground, get down on the ground, right? And he's just like, and he took off. And so I'm chasing him, and I've got him cornered, right, at one point, and he's still, like, dodging because he knows I can't do anything. I had to just chase him down. And it's all an exercise, so I'm just like, dumb idiot, stop moving, I don't want to sprint after you. Like, we're so mad at this dude. So we finally get him to, like, all right, guys, that was fun, let's arrest me now. Like, God. So I'm arresting him, and this dude, by the way, is like a dark-skinned Hispanic guy. Looks possibly African descent, and I feel so bad saying this, two people are walking by and watching this happen who are also of African descent. They're both black. I'm not trying to generalize. This is literally what happened. I've never had this happen other than this incident. And they go, hey man, you need help? I'm like, oh, they're talking to me because I'm arresting a criminal. I turn to them. They're looking at the dude. They're like, hey man, like the guy I'm arresting, like, you need help? Like, what are you about to do? Are you about to attack police officers? You idiots? We're putting handcuffs on him. I have a badge visible. What? And I don't know if it was a race thing, like, hey, this is one of us. Like, yeah, we gotta protect him. But like, I turned to him. I'm just like, are you kidding me? This is a training exercise. Get lost. I'm like, okay, dude. Would have helped you though. Come on. Anyway, I'm not trying to make that about race. But literally, he was a dark-skinned guy, and two dark-skinned guys wanted to help him out. I don't know what that was about. Maybe it was just chance happenstance, but it was weird, man. Have I ever investigated one of my own? You bet I have. Not in my unit. We're not allowed to investigate our own unit, but we report it to other units to have them investigate it. Well, we kind of can investigate our own unit. I've arrested MPs, 100%. I've charged a few of them. Oh, that's a story. That's a good story. All right, since it's story time, since it's what do they call this stream? Star and Blue story time. Elegant Adventures and Anecdotes or something ridiculous like that. I don't know. If you guys got a better title than that, let me know. It was ridiculous. I just want it to be ridiculous. Stabbing. All right. Do we want the stabbing? We want the stabbing. What was the story I was just... Oh, investigating my own. The suicidal woman. Oh, I got so many good stories, guys. Now it's all coming back to me. All right, the stabbing. So, there's a party one night in the barracks. Not my barracks. Not my party. I'm going to try to tell this as best I can because it's a little confusing and I don't remember it perfectly, which is a shame because it's such a good one. Party in the barracks. One of the younger soldiers got drunk. I'm pretty sure he was underage. And he was getting ragged on by some of the older soldiers and he didn't really appreciate it. So his buddy's like, hey man, you're too drunk, let's go home. Takes him outside the room, gets him to his barracks room. And the guy's like, all right, yeah, you're right, man, I'm drunk, I'll see you tomorrow. So this young soldier goes back to his room, grabs a kitchen knife, goes back to the party. He's hiding it behind his back, like, hey man, I think I left my wallet in here or something. Gets let in and slashes the throat of the guy who's making fun of him. What? Runs outside, gets tackled outside the building and held down. The guy whose throat has been slashed just like grabs a towel, puts it on his neck, goes out to the hallway, pulls the fire alarm. Genius move, by the way, because it instantly lets medical personnel know exactly where you are. So, isn't it great, the setup? I'm sorry, people are saying that setup is great. It's great, isn't it? Pull the fire alarm. Genius. And the guy, he wasn't slashed real bad. He didn't hit any arteries or anything, but it was bleeding. The towel was real bloody. And there were drops of blood in the hallway and stuff when we came and checked it out. So CID, which is the federal agency, ended up investigating it. And they called me in to assist with the crime scene management, just making sure people aren't going in and out of that crime scene, which they'd marked off. Now, meanwhile, the drunk guy, later, when he woke up, he's like, why am I in the hospital in handcuffs or wherever he was? Why am I in the jail cell? I think he was in the jail cell at the time. I don't think he ended up in a hospital. That was a different guy. Similar stories sometimes run together. But he ends up in the jail cell. He falls asleep. People weirdly tend to do that in our little drunk tank. And wakes up and goes, why am I here? And they're like, you stabbed a dude. Guy didn't remember a single bit of it. Not a single bit. I what a dude? He stabbed him in the throat. I'm like gonna go to jail for that. Yeah, you are. That's a big deal. Also, you don't have the defense. Like, I was drunk. Like, you shouldn't have been. You're underage. Anyway, so I'm there, holding down the crime scene. And since this is a barracks room building, it's a hallway, right? And there's drops of blood everywhere. And people are in their rooms. It's I want to say a weekend. And I'm knocking on doors like, hey, military police investigator, open your door, right? And people open the door like, oh, it's like 9 a.m. on a Saturday. What's up? Like, hey, we're evacuating this floor of this building. Grab whatever you need for the day. Get out. Sorry, I was much nicer about it than that, but that was basically the gist of it. Like, hey, things happened last night. Don't know if you know. A lot of screaming and yelling, I'm sure. This is a crime scene. Please grab whatever you need. It's going to be at least 4 hours. Probably all day. Your CAC, your common access card, that's your military ID. Clothes if you need them. Phone charger, because you're not going to be allowed back in this building until we're done. Oh, okay. Most people were pretty chill about it. And they'd grab their stuff and they laughed. Like, wow, there's blood on this floor. Like, yeah, don't step in it. Right? Yeah, it's basically like, military police, open your door. It's fun. It's really fun to do that, by the way. If you've never, most of you probably haven't. But the cop knock, we just pound on it for like 10 seconds. Oh, it's fun. I enjoy it. I was nice, though. I just love watching the face of the open door, like, what? And then you calm them down, whatever. But it's just that moment of them being like, oh, God, what's going on? It's fun. It amuses me. You find a little enjoyment here and there. Not that I enjoyed making people unhappy, but anyway, it's hard to explain. So we get to this one door, right? I've gotten everyone else out, except for this one. Well, no, I've gotten everyone but 2 others, which I got after this guy, but they're not important. I get to this guy's door, knock on the door, like, military police, open the door. Answer the door, military police. Nothing. Like, military police. I can hear movement in there, so I know someone's there. Like, open your door. And I hear someone go up to the door and go, who is it? It's military police, the thing that I've been yelling through your door this entire time. He goes, who are you with? Me, I am military police, open the door. But who's with you? CID? Federal agents? That's who's with me? Like, do you have an E7 or above? Now, for the record, an E7 or above is what's required to search a room. So this guy may have been hiding something that I definitely believed the longer I talked to him. Like, no, I do not have an E7. I am military police. I am here with CID. There's a crime scene outside, and we're evacuating this floor of the building. He's like, okay, cool. Military police. Yeah, okay. So he opens the door, crack, and goes, what do you want? Like, as I just explained, there's a crime scene out here. We're getting everyone on this floor to leave so that they're not coming and going through a crime scene. Grab whatever you need for the day. Phone charger, phone, extra clothing if you need it, bag, I don't know. Whatever you feel like you need for the day, because you're not coming back. And get out. He goes, okay. By the way, he had like the best mustache. Like, he should have been playing hockey in the 70s in Canada with his mustache. Just boom. Incredible. So it's kind of like 10 minutes. I got my clothes in the dryer. Like, yeah, 10 minutes, fine. And then I went in and got the other two that were there in the hallway. And then I, waited my 10 minutes. I knocked on the door. Who is it? It's me again. Military police. Is it you? Yes, it's me. So he's like, yeah. Opens the door, like, come in. So I go in, right? And this dude is like, all right. So I don't know if you know this, but there was a stabbing last night. Like, what do you think the crime scene was? The guy got stabbed. He goes, yeah, I know. Yeah. Come into my room. I'm like, I should not be going into this dude's room, but I'm so fascinated by what's happening. I do it anyway. Dangerous move. I was fine. Don't recommend it. And he goes in and like shuts the door. And he turns up his TV. And I realize he's turning up his TV so that no one can listen through the walls. Like, this dude's acting super paranoid. I'm like, what's up, dude? He goes, so with the stabbing, right? Oh, there's a stabbing. I'm like, I know. That's why I'm here. And he goes, but here's the thing. Has everyone else left the floor? I'm like, yes, you're the last one. We're just waiting on you, dude. He goes, see, that's the problem. They're going to know I talked to you. Like, everyone's talked to me. What are you talking about? He goes, yeah, but I'm the last one. So they're going to think that I stay behind to give you information. They're going to come and get me. Who's going to come and get you, dude? The stabbers. What? No, we got the guy. There may be more. What do you mean there may be more? He's part of a group, man. Do you know that for sure? No, but I don't want to take the chance. So where's this information coming from? My brain, man. I thought this through. Are you ready to leave or not? No, man, I got like 30 more minutes on my laundry. I look at his laundry machine and like it's not drying. It's going through the wash cycle. He's got 38 minutes left. I'm like, no, dude, I gave you 10 minutes. You said you'd be out. And he goes, 5 more minutes. Like, to do what? Your laundry's not going to be dry by that time. He goes, 5 minutes. So I leave and I get one of the agents. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this dude. This isn't my crime scene. Like, they have fancy gold badges. I don't know, man. So I go to the agent. I'm like, hey, man, I'm having trouble getting this guy out. Can you help me out? And he goes, yeah, okay. What's going on? I'm like, he's acting super paranoid. I think there's something weird going on. And I think that maybe it would be important for you to get eyes on this guy so that you know whether or not this has anything to do with the case. Because it's weirding me out. So we go to the door, knock on the door. Like, he knocks on the door and goes, hey, this is Special Agent whoever, right? Hey, man, are you there? And goes, who is it? Special Agent whatever. Who are you with? Come on, man. Who are you with? I knocked on the door like, hey, man, it's me. We already talked. The investigator, remember me? He goes, oh, I remember you. Yeah. He like unlocks the door and opens it. He goes, okay, yeah, I see his badge. Come in. So he pulls us back into his room, and the agent's just like, what's going on? And I'm like, I know, dude, I know. It's really weird. And he turns up the TV, right? And the agent's like, hey, man, can you turn that down that TV? And the guy's like, no, I'm good. He goes, I can't hear you. He goes, oh, I can hear you just fine. Don't worry about it. And he's watching, I think, Band of Brothers. Like, good for him. Great show. But, and the agent's just like, what's going on, man? He goes, well, there was a stabbing. The agent goes, I know. That's why we're here. I'm like, I told you. We know. He goes, yeah, okay. So here's the deal. They're going to know it's me. What's you? The guy who talked to you. Everyone talked to us. Yeah, but I'm the last one out. That is correct because you're stalling so long. Okay, so are you going to tell me that my name isn't going to show up in this case somewhere? Like, yes, it's going to show up as people we evacuated from the building. That's it. So it's not going to say I talked to you? No. But my name is going to be in the case. Yes, along with 20 other names. Okay. Can you, like, cover me with a blanket or something while I leave? No. Get out. That's an order. Well, here's the thing, man. I haven't slept a lot, so I'm kind of freaking out right now. Like, I'm pretty sure it's drugs is the reason he's freaking out. He's like, I'm trying to become a warrant officer to fly helicopters. So I really don't want any trouble. Great, then get out. Well, I think that's going to get me in trouble. What? So the agent's like, look, dude. Do you have food? Yeah. I've got I've got Jack Daniels and cereal. I'll be set. I can do that for days. Like, cool. If I leave you in here, will you leave in the next many hours? No, I'll stay in here, man. I'll stay in here. Cool. Stay in here. Do not leave your room. And we left. And I went down, like, his sergeant and went, you need to keep an eye on that dude. There's something wrong there. And that was it for me for that day. But good God. And I wish I could convey to you the amount of weirdness that this guy was giving off. Like, this story does not do it justice. It was just insane. Yeah, I think he was either on too much medication, self-prescribed, you know what I'm saying, or not enough medication. So it's, oh my God, it was so weird. Like, I employ a certain level of paranoia myself, but not like this dude. But yeah, don't forget to words are hard. Don't forget to subscribe, as people in the chat are saying. Why not? You'll hear more stories. I'm gonna leave. I have other stories. If you like those stories, it was not Forrest Gump. This guy was actually very intelligent. He was just either very high, or maybe it was just an extreme lack of sleep. I mean, he might have been on Spice. Spice will make you really paranoid. Don't do Spice, by the way, guys. That was a big problem in the military, actually, with Spice. I mean, not that drugs are a huge deal. They happen. It happens. Depending on the base. Some bases it's a lot worse. It depends on, the timing of when the drug dealers were there and the rings and the whatever. And he probably did have something to hide based on the fact that he was asking if I had an E7 with him. Spice is a big deal because a lot of soldiers, not so much anymore, but years ago when it used to be more popular, soldiers believed that you couldn't test for it, so they'd use it as an alternative to marijuana because like it'll never show in my system. Now at the time, it did show in the system, it just didn't show the amount, which is actually worse because as long as it's in your system, we can say it's in the system, it's enough to test positive, therefore they've ingested enough that they must have known that was in their system, they didn't report it. That's a crime. Article 112 Alpha, UCMJ action. So on and so forth. Whereas marijuana, if you've just been exposed to it but you didn't actually smoke it, that'll actually show up in your system as like, oh, it was such a low amount that we can't say that they actually, like, they have a good defense. Spice, not so much. Now I think there are tests that do show the amount. I could be wrong about that, but a lot of soldiers thought that it couldn't be tested for at all, so a lot of them would use it, and we caught quite a few on Spice, and it was popular. I don't know if this guy was on it, but it does cause paranoia. It can kill you. If you're looking for marijuana or Spice, I'm not going to tell you to go do drugs, but if there's no way of stopping you from doing either, I will tell you that Spice will kill you, marijuana will not. So take that as you will. I should read Metro State hate mail. Yeah, I'm sure I mean, the guy was smart. The guy came off as very intelligent. It was just that moment, I think I caught him at a bad time. If he was drugs, get him out of there. If it was just a lack of sleep, go sleep, dude. But it didn't seem like PTSD to me, guys. Those of you bringing that up. Let me see. Yeah, subscribe and ring that bell. I don't know what the bell is. I'll be honest with you. I don't pay attention to that sort of thing. But if there's a bell, ring it. I don't know. Yeah, new Metro State video. I might do a stream on that in a couple days. Just give you a reaction on it. But yeah. No, PCP. So PCP will sort of, I think, mess with your grasp on reality a little bit more. Obviously, I've never done it, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, PCP has a lot different effects than Spice does. Spice, it's easier to act like a normal person, which he wasn't really doing. But this wasn't like a PCP type situation. But anyway, how do you guys feel about this little story time? The whole, I mean, I put time into making this happen. It's figuring all of this out. I don't know, let me know what you think. Should we do it again? I feel like kind of a waste not to use it again. My good buddy Lustig here, Victor Lustig. It's also a symptom of being really high. You're not wrong. See, it's nice being able to tell stories, so I don't have to try to be as impartial. Like when I talk about Do It, you know, I try to stay calm and be impartial. When I'm telling stories, I get to tell stories. I get to have a lot more fun with it. Missing a cigar. I have a pipe. I do have a pipe. Yeah. Oh, hello there. Story time. Yes. Yeah. So, do I have any idea if DeWitt's made bail? I do not. I have very little information. Maybe I'm just looking in the wrong place. But we shall see. Once more stuff comes out, I'll definitely be talking about it. I do have more of the Jeremy DeWitt interview that I'm trying to put out. Keep in mind, this happened weeks ago, this interview. So we're not talking about anything recent. This was just sort of me wanting to hear him justify his actions, right? I didn't ask any hard-hitting questions. A lot of people are still upset about that. I didn't ask those hard-hitting questions. I didn't call him out on anything. I let him give his story, and then we can make comparisons to what actually happened. But if I had done anything more intense than I did, he would have never answered them, and I wanted to build rapport with him so I could keep talking to him. And I have been continuing to talk to him. It's mostly him being upset with me. He is not happy I used his mugshot in that video. But I'm not happy he committed stolen valor. So now he's, I guess, in jail, so I may never talk to him again. Admiral Richard Byrd sounds very familiar. Where have I heard that? Nothing's in the pipe. It is a real pipe. It is real. I don't smoke, so I'm not going to use it to smoke anything. Admiral Richard Byrd sounds super familiar. Why do I know that name? Yeah, I'm glad you like story time because I have fun doing it, and I feel like I could tell some of my stories. We can go after when I run out, because I will. I can just go over the old-timey criminals and all their shenanigans. Let me see. Admiral Richard Byrd. American naval officer, that makes sense. Died in 1957. Recipient of the Medal of Honor. That's where I've heard of him. In the Navy? Oh, an explorer. Polar. I knew there was something about the polar something or other. Yeah. It's, alright, yeah. Devil 93. Next time we're on call, we'll do that. Yeah, so I wanted to build rapport with Jeremy with that interview. And that way I could continue doing interviews. However, that's not going to happen, I'm sure, because a lot of arrests, and he's kind of mad at me. So, unfortunately, we got what we got. I got what I wanted out of it. I'm sorry if you didn't get what you wanted out of it. But it's fun to hear him justify what he's done. And he does have some reasonable explanations for his course of action. That doesn't mean that they're lawful or that they'll save him. But it makes it clear he didn't just wake up one day and go, all right, cool, we're going to break the law a bunch. Yeah, a lot of people thought I was too soft. Now, there are some subtle things that I did in those videos that were very much me harassing him. Right? And DeWitt, I'm sorry if you don't like that. That's just me with some showmanship. The mugshot, I guess, being one of them. The when he's talking about how dangerous, in that first one where he's talking about how dangerous the other funeral escort guy thought he did his job. He's like, "Oh, I would never do this on a bike. It's too dangerous." And I showed the video of him, weaving in and out of traffic. That was a basically like, "You sure? You sure you were doing it right? Right? Maybe there's a reason why it was dangerous." So I threw some of that in there. So call him out if you want. But during the interview, I did not call him out. There were a few tougher questions I asked. They asked that I didn't include in the interview, so I didn't. So to get the interview, I had to run all the questions by him first. So obviously, he got rid of the ones he didn't want to answer. And it's a good pic. It's the best picture I could find of him facing front, so I used it. So those of you who think I have some sort of crush on DeWitt, I can assure you that is not the case. I like my men less square-faced, and women particularly. I like my men to be women, but nothing wrong with people who prefer men to be men. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, it's not like I can contact him again anyway because he's in jail. But we'll see. When they inevitably make a Netflix documentary on this guy, which I'm sure they won't actually, they better call me. Why does law enforcement in Florida question whether his people use a siren when they video themselves using a siren? Yeah, there's video proof of Jeremy using a siren. There shouldn't be a question about it. But yeah. Any other questions before I get out of here? I say DeWitt, and the chat pops up. Like, the numbers go up. It's crazy. Yes, the reason I'm covering DeWitt is because you people are still fascinated by him. So as long as he's still an interesting topic, it would behoove me to continue talking about him. That is the real reason I'm still doing this. Did I ever arrest someone for marijuana? I've arrested soldiers for marijuana. I don't think I've ever arrested a civilian. Now, soldiers, they sign a contract. I'll be honest with you. I do not have a problem with marijuana. I don't. If you think that, if you're in a state where marijuana is illegal, and I'm in a state where it is legal, right? I'll explain. If you live in a state where it is not legal, I encourage you, instead of just being like, screw it, I'm going to smoke weed, petition the government to change that. And then you can smoke weed legally and you don't have to worry about it. It's great. I've never smoked it. I wouldn't know. But the fact that you're doing things legally is great. So I got distracted by the chat. I've arrested soldiers, yes. Because they are absolutely not allowed to possess it, even in states where it's legal, because it's federal property. It is still, possession of marijuana, even in states where it is legal to possess, is a federal crime. Basically, all the states are doing is removing their own legislature about certain aspects that make marijuana illegal, and then saying, we're not going to prosecute this at a federal level, even though it is still a federal crime. So we're just not going to prosecute it. That's what's happening. It's still illegal, technically, at a federal level. But then the states get to decide whether or not they're going to prosecute it, because city, municipal, county, state police, so, police, sheriffs, state troopers, that sort of thing, they are not required to enforce federal law, which is one of the reasons we don't have more people getting arrested for filming military installations. That's an entirely different topic, which I've covered many, many times. So, unfortunately, I had to arrest them because they broke the law, and then their defense is their defense, and I hope it works well for them in court. But personally, based on the evidence I've seen, I believe that marijuana is not as dangerous or destructive as alcohol. It's just that alcohol is more socially acceptable. I'm not a huge fan of the smell of marijuana, but if you want to use it in your own home, I personally don't have a problem with that. But if I'm enforcing law, which I don't do anymore, but if I'm enforcing law in a place where marijuana is illegal, I'm going to enforce that law. It is up to you to beat the charge, and I recommend, before you put yourself in a position that could get you arrested for it, you try to make it legal. But that's my thought on it. Have I ever had to deal with gangs in the Army? Not really. I've dealt with people with gang affiliations and gang tattoos, but there was nothing that they were doing that tied them to an actual gang at the time. I worked with an agent, actually, who grew up in a gang, out of necessity, who grew up in a a real bad part of town. He had no crimes associated with that gang, so that's why he was able to become an agent. It's real tricky, though. It's real hard to be in the military with gang affiliation. It wasn't that he was really affiliated. It's that his part of town is where that gang ran, and he basically had to say, I'm loyal to this gang, to get them to accept him. And then if he had stayed in the area when he was older, they would have recruited him, and it would have been very difficult to say no. However, he got out of there before he was recruited, so he has nothing on his record about that gang, anything. But he had some really, really good insight into some of the codes for, like, when the police show up, various situations, how to call out someone with a gun in, you know, as part of the gang. It was really, really interesting. E4 Mafia. E4 Mafia is real. It's not really a mafia. It's just a bunch of lazy people working together to try to be lazy. I was never part of that. I always tried to work hard. Someone asked me what my scariest story is. If you haven't seen my video on finding the pile of faces, that's probably the thing that spooked me the most. I've had some weird things, but I'll give you a brief version of the pile of faces story. This is when I was in Germany. And the base we were on, as many bases are, American bases are, was a former Nazi military installation. And many of these bases have these underground tunnels. Because, you know, if it's being bombed, you've got places to go, and you can get to various buildings underground. And so, when I was working the night shift, I'd like to go into those tunnels, because I was looking for people hiding down there, maybe smoking some of that dank weed, or getting it on with a couple people, who knows, you know, whatever teenagers do in dark, secluded areas, which are both of those things sometimes. I'm basically looking for anyone that shouldn't be there, because no one was supposed to be there. So I you know, go down the stairs in these tunnels with my flashlight, and I'd be going around, and there's this long tunnel, particularly long section of tunnel, and I'm looking down it, and there's this best I can describe it as a pile of pink, right? My eyes are not focusing on it for some reason. Like, I see it's there, but I cannot comprehend what it is. It's just this sort of pinkish colored, just pile. And I start walking towards it, like, what on earth is it? That wasn't there last time I was here. And I'm like 10, 15 feet away from it when suddenly my brain, like, just snaps it into focus and comprehends what it is. Because, like, it was in focus the entire time. My brain was just not processing it. And it's a pile of CPR dummy faces. I didn't know that was what it was at the time. All I saw was a bunch of faces just like, I froze. I got that freeze response just immediately, like, oh no, no, pile of faces. And then, you know, quickly realized, okay, these aren't real. What on earth is this? And I, you know, kicked one around my foot. It's just a rubber mask for CPR dummy. It's terrifying. Just coming out that in the dark and underground Nazi tunnels. That's the thing that spooked me the most, I think. Yeah, it was really weird. I have a picture, and if you find that video, it was a Halloween special that I did. I actually have a picture. I recovered it from an old phone of mine. It's the only picture I could recover of that incident, and it shows some of the faces, real blurry. Quality's garbage, but that's, I think, the thing that spooked me the most. It's not the worst thing I've ever dealt with. Dead people, obviously, not great. Especially if they've been dead for a while. I've never had to deal with anything that are, like, putrefying. Thank God. I said, oh, hell nah. I didn't run, though. I mean, there are times where I've had to draw my service weapon. I've only drawn it on one person. That was because they illegally entered the military installation. They just blew right through our checkpoint. And we hit the barriers, stopped them. Barriers basically pop out of the ground, so they can't keep moving forward. And we like, get out of the car, felony traffic stop, the whole thing. That's a fun story. I'll tell that one sometimes. I can't tell all my stories right now, though. Now that I started telling stories, like, all the other ones are coming back to me. Just tuck myself in my chair real quick. it's so silly. Anyway, I've been doing this for over an hour. I feel like this is I can't tell all my stories. We gotta do this again. You guys said that you wanted this to happen again. I'll do it again. I'll tell you guys my stories. I'll do it. Tell you some personal stories. I'll tell you more about people like Victor here. Am I into punk rock music? There's punk rock that I like. You guys, I'm so easily distracted. I'll answer your questions. I don't even care, because I'm just rambling. There's punk rock I like. I used to be really into the Dead Kennedys. Back when I was in high school. I'm into a lot of different types of music, but particularly California Uber Alles. I just really like the melody of it. I don't remember what the lyrics were other than California Uber Alles. No idea what the song was about. But the melody was fun. Devil 93. You bet your backside I'm gonna be playing some more Thunder. 2 more. I'm not doing this for. I'm fixing to get off right now. I'm not doing this for another 2 hours. I got stuff to do today. That's a lie, by the way. I don't actually have stuff to do. This is a me day. This is my day off. Schedule 2 is banned on base, even if they're prescribed. Prescription drugs are not banned, but if they're prescribed to you through the base, there are limitations. Like, you're not going to get prescribed cocaine. By the way, so schedule of drugs 1, 2, 5. Schedule 1 being addictive, highly addictive, and no known medical use. Schedule 2 being highly addictive with some known medical use. Schedule 3 being less addictive, medical use, and then so on and so forth down the list, where 5 is basically just your standard prescription drugs. Marijuana, interestingly, is Schedule 1, because supposedly it's highly addictive, although I believe it's not chemically addictive, and it's supposedly there are no known medical uses, which is not really entirely true anymore. It was just people really didn't like marijuana and petitioned real hard to get it really criminalized, and it became that way, and it has a lot of stigma associated with it. It is a Schedule 1 drug, if I remember correctly. I don't believe it should be, based on the definitions of those schedules. Cocaine is Schedule 2, because there are medical uses for cocaine. It's using as a numbing agent for oral procedures. If there are allergies to other numbing agents, cocaine is sometimes used. Weird. I have a story about that, actually. The dad of one of my friends got in a really bad, I think it was a motorcycle accident. It was some sort of vehicular accident. And he's messed up. He's still blind in one eye. You can't tell. They did a good job fixing him, but they shattered his jaw or something. I don't remember what the details were. But he's on the table, just oh, I'm in so much pain. And they're using cocaine to numb his face. And so he's like, oh man, in TV. So I'm pretty sure he was on morphine at the time. On TV, the detective tastes the cocaine. And he goes, yeah, that's cocaine. Right, I wonder what cocaine tastes like. So he tips his finger in the cocaine, because no one's there in the room with him. It's just this little container of cocaine. He tips his finger in. I don't taste anything. It doesn't really have a taste. Maybe I need more. So he's still nothing. So the doctor comes in, and his face is numb, right? Because it numbs your face. I don't taste anything. Cut the cocaine away from that man. This man is eating our cocaine. Just, I don't taste anything. He's, I'm sure, on morphine, and his face has got to be completely numb by that point. Just rubbing cocaine all over his face. Oh, it kills me every time. Yeah. So it's a whole thing. Anyway. But yeah, they don't use it so much anymore. They have better alternatives. This was probably in the 80s. Stolen valor is a federal crime. It's also a crime in many states. So, is it hemostatic? Not for numbing? I could have sworn. No, cocaine is used for numbing, is it not? Maybe they had something else that's numbing him. Yeah, it's for temporarily numb the lining of the mouth, nose, and throat, the mucous membranes. Haha. Lidocaine is used for numbing more now. But cocaine is used for as a topical temporary numbing agent. It's good time, right? Anyway, I should probably get going. I mean, since I like to do this, if you aren't part of my Discord and you want to be, you get a lot of input into our shenanigans with Mr. DeWitt in Metro State. We share a lot of stuff about theories, what's going on. We try to get stuff out to each other before real world police does. They're doing a lot more with records requests than we are, but we're analyzing information a lot better than they are, because his intent, real world police's intent, is to get the information out there. Mine is to analyze the information that is out there. And if he's getting the information, cool, I'll take that, I'll look it over. So, you in the chat. Yeah, we have a good time there. Let me post that. We talk about all sorts of stuff, not just DeWitt, but also Gary Ridgway. Auditors, we bring them up sometimes. Sovereign citizens, we discuss those. So yeah, feel free to check that out. There it is there. That'll be good for 24 hours. And I'm going to get out of here because I got some video games to play. And yes, we also play War Thunder, if you guys are into War Thunder. One of these days, I should do a stream about my World War II collection. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that. Since War Thunder, what we're at right now in War Thunder is a, you can fight each other with tanks, planes, or boats. And right now, we're sort of playing at the World War II level of planes. So, for those of you who are interested in that sort of historical thing, I do have some historical stuff. So, we could maybe come on in. Yeah, one of my viewers has had contact with DeWitt, allegedly. I had a stream about that a couple days ago. And what do I think about Furry Potato? Furry Potato, I respect the fact that Furry Potato has actually gotten some really good footage of police doing the wrong thing. When I first discovered Furry Potato, I was like, okay, cool. There's some good stuff here. I actually have a video. One of my earlier videos is about Furry Potato, and I got a lot of people hating on me for that, 'cause she has a lot of support. I'm trying to be cautious here about this. I don't like the direction Furry has gone. The people that she has been streaming with, I do not. I think that it's a bad move. I think she's better than that, and I think that she's not someone I really enjoy watching, but there are definitely worse auditors out there, and there are issues, but I cannot deny that there have been some very excellent videos from Furry Potato that have shown the police absolutely doing the wrong thing. So, in the interest of being cautious, so I don't bring the hate back down on me, I say, Furry Potato, I don't support what she is currently doing with her channel, but I respect the fact that she has done some useful things in pointing out issues within the police department in California. Stream on Alec Ringdahl. Let's see if we can get him on stream. Oh, all right. I'll tell you why I call Furry Potato a girl. Furry Potato identifies is born. I'm going to be very careful now to avoid making anyone upset. Furry Potato is transgender. Born with male genitalia, consider themselves a female. I don't know much about the whole transgender thing. I try to be appropriate with it. It doesn't really affect me, so I don't mind calling people however they want to be called. If you want to be called something crazy, I'll go with something crazy. But cool. Like, does that hurt me? No. If you want to be called a different gender, okay. So Furry Potato likes to be called she, identifies as she. Doesn't hurt me to do that. I'm not going to go into the details. It's just, I'm not super well versed on the whole transgender movement, but I do know that it doesn't hurt me to call them what they want to be called. So, you do whatever you want with how you deal with the whole transgender thing. I've had some very good friends who are transgender. I respect their decisions. I don't fully understand it, but that doesn't mean that I can't let them just do their own thing. So, if Furry Potato hit me, I would detain her in a citizen's arrest until police arrived. I wouldn't hit her back. I'd take her down. Right? If I'm assaulted, I'm only throwing punches if I need to knock someone out or get some distance. Right? If you're throwing punches, I'm grabbing you. I'm using some of my super special ninjutsu. No, I got some good Brazilian jiu-jitsu stuff. If you're throwing punches, I'm grabbing you and taking you to the ground. And then having someone call the police because I am now officially conducting a citizen's arrest. Unless I deserve it. Who knows? I'm sure there are many reasons I deserve to be hit. But yes, as far as transgender thing goes, I'm not an expert. I'm not going to challenge that. I'm fine with your opinions. Feel free to have them. I'm not going to try and change them. But it does not hurt me to call someone by their preferred gender. Doesn't mean I agree with it. Doesn't mean I don't. Use my pipe. Yes, it's a serious issue. It's something that should be taken seriously. Yes. Equal rights and lefts. Anyway, we've gone off on a topic. I'm going to get out of here. You guys have been a lot of fun. I'm glad you like this little story time. I'm excited to keep doing it every once in a while. And I'm going to go play some video games. And feel free to join us. The link to the Discord's in the chat somewhere. Let me put it in there again. If you like joining us. But I digress. Throwing it out there for you guys. Let me see. I am going to end the stream. So, until the next time, be good and stay safe. Yeah.